read the disclaimer.
3, 2, 1, blast off!
Don't get me wrong on this. Futurama is full of incredible classic episodes. Some people have even voiced that they think the series should have kept going. There were, however, certain episodes that were less memorable than others. It's that handful of episodes you skip over when you're browsing through the seasons.
Tell them I hate them.
Like any long-running show, it wasn't completely flawless, and it has the occasional awkward, unpleasant episode. And just for funsies, we're going to look back at these episodes in the top 6 worst Futurama episodes of all time. Why top 6? Because there really aren't enough bad Futurama episodes to warrant a top 10 list. Keep in mind, this is just my personal opinion.
Bender Fry!
If you like these episodes, good for you. Most of them probably just struck a nerve with me, so take this list with a grain of salt. Number 6. Bender.
Hail, hail, Rabonia.
Bender gets a sex change. And yes, that is a terrible premise for an episode. I've never wondered, and never would have, what Bender's like as a woman. It's kind of creepy and weird, but not in a good way. The celebrity Calculon then falls in love with Bender? Funny? To me, this episode just felt really uncomfortable to watch. Why are we sexualizing Bender? It's like sexualizing Fry. For the male viewers out there, you'd be as limp as a dead fish for a week. Maybe this was an episode for a female demographic or something, but I mostly just found it uncomfortable.
Okay, look. If I help you with this, do you promise to get out of my gender and stay out?
Number 5. Spanish Fry.
No nose!
Ugh. This episode makes me cringe on the few times I've been brave enough to watch it. Why? The majority of the episode is spent watching Fry be chased by aliens, trying to castrate him so they can use it for their weird alien sex. I'm sorry, but I don't know how this episode couldn't make you cross your legs awkwardly. As well as that, there's this kind of mean-spirited vibe throughout the whole episode. The episode always seems to be making fun of people obsessed with their hobbies, and frankly, I like people who are obsessed with their hobbies. A lot of people in the YouTube community fall into that category to some degree. Ugh.
Remove pads.
This episode I always skip over. Number 4. Put Your Head on My Shoulders. Mostly just a very forgettable episode. I can barely remember a thing about this episode other than Fry dates Amy and they get their heads molded together. And he acts like a child over his relationship with Amy.
Hanging out? She's getting way too serious. I'm not a one-woman man, Leela.
You'll be back to 0 soon enough.
And then Zap dates a transsexual. Okay, that last one is kind of funny. It's a well-meaning enough episode, and it's not particularly bitter, but it's just still very uncomfortable, and I can't quite put my finger on why. Probably the most forgettable episode in the series. I think in the end, this episode just had some really weak writing. Definitely worth a skip.
You just corralled a bunch of stiffs at the bus station and pocketed our money.
True, but in the end, isn't that what Valentine's Day is really all about?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Number 3. Bender should not be allowed on TV. The message of this episode just felt insulting. The episode focuses around Hubert Jr., who is by far the least interesting or pleasant character in the series. There's just something awkward about watching these two kids obsess and drool over TV characters. Its message seems to be that kids imitate and obsess over TV too much. It then extends this message to adults obsessing and imitating TV too much.
What makes you think that'll work?
I saw it on TV in that episode where Bender shot Calculon.
And that people love to imitate cruelty and an uncaring attitude because Bender does it.
At our network, we love filth. Filthy rich, that is.
It just paints all people as sheep to a certain degree, and I never get why some shows do that.
Guacamole del Rio!
That was so terrible, I think you gave me cancer.
Number Number 2. Nutopia. The entire crew gets neutered by a giant talking rock. Ain't that just peachy? Oh, and it gets better. You remember how I said Ben-Hur was like sexualizing Fry? Well, here we are. And not just Fry. Ew. Ew. Oh, just no. Well, at least they had the taste to spare us the professor. Oh no, no. Oh God, no. Why did you need to show us that? I could have lived without seeing the professor nude with jiggly bits.
Feast your eyes on this!
It's beautiful!
The actual story is an episode that really didn't feel in the spirit of Futurama. It just irks me when characters we've watched develop over so long suddenly become petty and begin fighting among themselves like kids. Suddenly, all the male characters have biases that started to die in the 40s, and think the women should be in the kitchen, and the women have become outraged feminists.
We can't trust a woman's math.
I know it's being overplayed for laughs, but I just didn't find it that funny or pleasant.
In your face, decumbent urinators.
There's this angry bitterness behind this episode that I just couldn't look past.
Now when I say stupid things, guys all laugh and buy me stuff.
Did we really need this bitter episode dedicated to making all guys look like trash? And did we really need... Ugh! These 5 episodes have been the kind you can just write off as a bad episode. But number 1 was so bad, it's the only Futurama episode that turns my stomach and sickens me. With that being said, let's take a look at... Number 1. Beast with a Billion Backs. Boy oh boy, do I hate this episode. Ugh, this one's right up there with Lisa Goes Gaga. Pure garbage. Remember that absolutely perfect ending we had in Bender's Big Score?
Well, we're boned.
Well, they decided to follow that up with the worst continuation in the entire series. Ironic, the best episode and the worst episode are right next to each other. It was just such an unpleasant episode for me. It paints every single individual on Earth as this empty husk of a creature that is a slave to its own pleasure, powerless before some great divine force. An alien breaks through that crack we saw in Bender's Big Score and starts attaching its tentacles to the brains of every human on Earth, and they all love it.
Hey, Zoidberg loves the tentacles.
Every human is instantly converted to this creature's drone after seeing, inverted commas, true love. As well as being really awkward watching this male-sounding tentacle monster violate every human on Earth.
Granted, at first I desired only to bang out a quick cheap one with your universe.
We then go through this boring date scenario with every sentient organism in the universe. Kind of cute, I guess? We then have every person on Earth joining this weird tentacle monster in the sky, in inverted commas, heaven, where they all see that life below was stupid and pointless, and that all that matters is having everything they want all the time.
Why were we so angry and jealous back in our universe?
I don't know. It was all so childish.
There's just this strange, callous emptiness to this episode that creeps me out. From it, I got the message that a lot of religions give. The message that humanity is powerless before a greater divine power, and that everything we do is meaningless before this greater power's will. And as you can probably guess, I find that message pretty detestable.
Blech!
For some reason, Leela is the only one in the universe that isn't taken in by this everything's perfect garbage from this alien monster.
Am I the only one who thinks this is all a sham?
Yes.
Well, I do too, Leela. There's something very wrong about this quote-unquote heaven. Oh, but no. It just turns out that Leela was the wrong one. And now she wants to accept the giant creepy alien monster Yevo and become a drone like everyone else. Oh, really? This is probably going to sound cheesy, but I think love is an amazing thing.
Please don't stop playing, Fry. I want to hear how it ends.
And it's almost like this episode defiles over that whole concept of love.
We were meant to be together.
No, I'm freezing my tuchus off here.
Just a sec, honey.
Now I think I'll make sure I never find this movie again. Beast with a Billion Backs is terrible. It is by far the worst Futurama episode I have ever watched. That being said, Beast is the only really terrible episode of Futurama. The others in this list are just average by Futurama standards. There isn't much mention of these episodes by fans, I imagine because we don't remember these bad episodes. Fans remember episodes like Jurassic Bark and Luck of the Fryish best because they were touched and inspired by those episodes. And in the end, we'll forget the occasional writer's slump and remember the endless laughs and amazing moments we were left with.
Take my hand!
I am really curious of people's opinions on these episodes. Beast with a Billion Backs particularly. It'd be great to hear other people's thoughts on these episodes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.